Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shut Up and Say Something, the podcast filled with interesting conversations with regular people. I am your host, Deedre Daniel, and today I am speaking with Teri Carden. She is getting ready to embark on a big journey because her children are leaving the home. She is an empty nester and she is about to travel around America and probably beyond in a tricked out van. So today we're talking about freedom, taking chances, taking big risks. And welcome, Teri.
Thanks so much for having me. This is so exciting to be
Oh,
here with you and talk nerdy about the van life.
yeah. Well, so this is a really big trip. And when I'm going to go somewhere for a week, it takes me forever to think about what to pack and all that. Like, what are you doing to prepare for this trip?
So, wow. Okay. So it's not a trip, it's going to be a lifestyle. There's no
Mm,
just trip involved. It is a change of everything that is around me, everything that I consider as home base, if you will. So I don't look at this as a trip, I look at it as a lifestyle change.
is there a deadline, meaning that are you going to do this for a year? You're going to do this for 2 years? Or is this when you talk about lifestyle, like maybe we should address the difference between unhoused and
Mm,
homeless
for
at this
sure.
point? Yeah.
Yeah, one of the girls that I follow, so I instantly, once I knew that this is the path I was gonna take to live in a van permanently, you know, toss the shingle of the 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse here in Nashville out the window and live in a van permanently. Once I realized that this is was my mission and this is exactly what I wanted to do, I just went down the rabbit hole of all of the podcasts and people on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and I started following everybody. And one of the girls that I follow is was ended up being on TV. I think she went houseless in 2019 when she was working in Silicon Valley,
Uh-huh.
and she was just barely making enough money to meet her rent every month. And she decided that she wanted to save up so
Mhm.
that she could have a better lifestyle in a couple years. And so she got rid of the apartment, and I don't know, CBS or CNN or somebody did some sort of stint on her. And when they did a stint on her, she emailed me directly and after I reached out to her, and she said, "The only thing I don't like about this is they called me homeless, not houseless."
Right.
And I thought, "Wow, there is a really big difference there."
Yeah, there really is. Have you seen the movie, Nomad Land with Frances McDormand?
I have. It's kind of dark though. It's a little bit it feels a little dark. It doesn't feel.
Yeah, but she addresses the difference between houseless and homeless, and I think it's important that I address something with the audience. You are a highly successful woman. Teri, first off, sold a very successful business before the age of 40. She has multiple other businesses when all these investors trying to woo her. They're all about Teri. Anytime she's very entrenched in the association world, she has an event that she throws every year called Non-Dues-a-Palooza. And so all of these association executives that want to generate more non-dues revenue, because membership, you can't always count on dues to keep an organization going. She puts together all of these sponsors, brings people in fact, I moderated a panel at one of
Mhm.
her events. A little plug for me, she has me closing the event coming
Yes.
up this year. But she's very, very successful, and other people would view moving into a van as being a sign of maybe a lack of success because sometimes you lose everything and have to move into a van, but you're making a conscious decision to do this as a highly successful person who doesn't have to do this. You want to do this. And
Mhm.
there's such a huge difference here. And so that's what I really want to talk about. This is about freedom
Mhm.
for you. And I,
Totally.
I think a lot of people would be inspired by that.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, and you're making a really valid point, and thank goodness this is not a forced move on my part. Maybe along my van life way, I will find people that are in need, and I can be a conduit for how they might be able to get help if this is a forced way of living. So,
Sure.
I'm actually really looking forward to the opportunity of rubbing elbows with people that I've not and types of people that I've never had the chance to rub elbows with. Yeah, I go out on 15-mile hikes in Sedona solo or 20-mile hikes, locally here in Tennessee, and it doesn't bug me, but the people on the trails are way different, I think, than the people that I want to be parked next to at
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel or something every once in
Right,
a while.
right. I have so many questions. So first off, let's actually look at the van, and you have a picture of the van. I'm gonna see if we can add this in here. So you've been working on this van. There's a company that's tricking this out for you, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, that's
Uh,
fancy looking right
it,
there. That's
it,
not. I mean, look at that. You got the mirror.
oops, yeah, whoops.
Oh, there's a kid in there.
No, no kids in
Right.
this van.
Yeah.
No kids allowed. Yeah, there's kind of a sort of what I might call the aerial view of what the van's gonna look like. It's gonna be a little different, but the idea or the concept is just the same. And one thing you might be seeing here in this particular layout that's gonna be a little different than mine is that I'm actually gonna have a place that I can shower inside my van as opposed to just only having the option for outdoor showering, which, by the way, point of contention between me and the van makers was having this, what do you do by having a shower inside, or you only use the outdoor shower? And yeah,
Oh,
that
so are
was
you
a
gonna be? Are you the first person to get a shower in the van?
no, I'm not. So there are showers in vans, all kinds of vans, right? So this is a ProMaster 2500.
And
It's
how
a
much does
one
that cost?
So the ProMaster right now, due to the market, is about a 60,000. 2022 ProMaster 2500 is
Uh-huh.
about a $60,000 van without the customizations.
Okay, but what you just showed us, I know I'm asking a nosy question. My mom always
Okay.
asks how much things cost, and you got to give her parent prices. Like, let's knock it down a little bit. So, do you mind sharing? Is that
No,
you're
no, I'm
okay?
happy to
Okay.
share. Yeah. So the van itself is about 60,000,
Uh huh.
and then the build itself will come in at about 50,000.
Wow. So
So
over 100 grand.
yeah, it's not a little, it's definitely, like, gonna end up being a pimp my ride sort of situation. It's
Right. Well, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you
thanks,
kind of zip through that picture. I was in awe trying to check everything out. I mean, it's beautiful what
thanks.
they've done inside.
Yeah, so there are so many van makers out there, and I mean, talk about going down the rabbit hole of van life. That is one point of friction right away, is trying to find the right people to make your van, because you've
Uh,
got people that are making vans that are a husband wife, mom pop sort of
uh-huh.
situation that just decided to make a van out of nowhere and then
Okay.
try to flip it and sell it. So there's this flipping van sort of mentality. And then there are, huge organizations and companies that have, warehouses full of all of the inventory to crank out making a van for you. Choose A, B, or C kind of van, and they can have it to you in 2.5 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I have a lot of questions here. First off, why a van and not an RV? Because it seems like you
uh,
had all of the amenities of an RV, but not as much space.
right. Okay. So let's back up just a second. I think it might help if people saw my perspective on why I'm even thinking about doing van life, right?
Yeah,
Other than most people say, wow, this just sounds like a thrilling adventure.
it does.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard, oh, I'm really jealous. I'm so jealous. About a year ago or so, my lease, that's what we call it, lease for
Uh-huh.
the townhouse was gonna be up May of next year. So it'll be May of 2023 when I officially do this all permanently.
Okay.
And I knew my kids would both be graduated by then, and I knew I was gonna have to find a home permanently. Haven't found a house here in Nashville because I knew I don't wanna make Nashville a permanent home.
I see.
So I started digging around on Zillow, and I realized, oh my goodness, now is not the time to buy a place.
Mhm.
So we can't do that. Options are just all over the place. And plus, I was digging around. I didn't know where I want to live. Do I want to live in South Florida? Do I want to live in
Right.
South Texas? Do I want to live in the Panhandle? Do I want to live in California? I can go anywhere, right? And I quickly realized I want to live everywhere. So
Mm.
then I went down the path of saying, okay, well, maybe I'll buy property all over the place, or maybe I'll build tiny houses on these pieces of property and I could just bounce around as I want to.
Uh-huh.
And then that all of a sudden felt like a lot of work and was going to take me away from the scope of what I'm trying to do here with my businesses. So I
Okay.
thought, okay, that's not a good idea either. And then I found the vans and I found the RV life, if you will. And what I asked myself was, holy cow, can you drive something this big?
Yeah. I know I
Oh,
can't. There's no way.
I mean, I thought there is no way in fire I can navigate it. I can't. I mean, I could barely back up my SUV with the backup
Uh-huh.
camera, right? Let alone trying
Right.
to haul around some giant piece of equipment, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it just felt very daunting thinking about water hookups and thinking about a dumping station and thinking about all the elements of running that whole RV situation by myself. And I thought, and I don't have a partner, so shameless
Uh-huh.
plug for being single there. But but this is something I'm doing on my own. So
Uh-huh.
when I started thinking about my lifestyle, I travel a lot, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes, during my busy pre-pandemic days, I was on the road once a week.
Mm.
And when conference season hits, I am on the road at least once every 2 weeks now. It's kind of hit, right? So I knew I needed to be nimble enough to be able to get in and out of airport parking lots so I can get to the closest
Yeah.
airport to get to a conference.
Uh-huh.
I knew that I didn't want to be dragging around a giant rig behind me because what if I really just wanted Wendy's for lunch, right? What do
Yeah.
I have to do? I have to find some special parking place just so I can run in Wendy's? No, that
Yeah.
felt like super ridiculous, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
okay.
the compactness of the ProMaster, it's only a 159-inch wheelbase, allows for me to get into small spaces, allows me to stay pretty inconspicuous when I'm
I see.
boondocking or
Mm. Well,
and
hold
yet it
on.
still gives me
You need
all
to
of the
explain
benefits.
what well, wait a second. You just said boondocking. All right. And
Yes.
besides the boondock saints, other people might have never heard that word before. So what does boondocking mean?
Okay. So boondocking means that you're not connected to any kind of electricity or water hookups. You're parked. You might be living what they call off the grid.
Okay.
So that means you're probably depending on solar
Mhm.
power.
And the van. So you actually have solar panels on your van
Yes.
and
Oh,
and
yeah.
that will air condition and power
Mhm.
your van as well, so you don't have
Yeah.
to turn it on and waste gas.
Yep. Yeah, so there's
Wow.
actually 3 ways the van gets powered. So power is the ultimate source, right? Power is gonna be the
Uh-huh.
source for me to have internet. Power is gonna be the source for me to charge my electric bike. So if I do get stuck, then I can pop on the electric bike and go somewhere. Power
Okay.
is the ultimate source for me to get access to my computer, turn the AC on, have the
Uh-huh.
water pump work for for the kitchen sink, all of the things. So power
S
is the ultimate resource. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah, and is the
3
air conditioning, like, through the vehicle itself, or is it its own freestanding air conditioning unit?
has its own unit on top
Okay.
of the van itself. So you have the regular AC, but that's not enough to really generate enough air
Sure.
conditioning for you to sleep at night on a hot night or something like that. So
Okay.
the van is stocked with lithium ion batteries, which are
Okay.
charged whenever the van is on. So the van automatically charges those batteries anytime you're en route. And then it's also the batteries are charged by solar. So
Okay.
even if it's on a non-sunny day, but you've taken a trip or a trek, as long as those batteries are good to go, you could probably my batteries, I can probably go off the grid completely without turning the van on or depending on solar for about 3 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good boondocking trip when I
Y
finally get to do that.
Yeah, yeah. So from the outside looking at the van, is it gonna be obvious to other people that this is a tricked out van that someone's living in, where someone might come knock on the window and say,
Yeah.
"Move it along, you can't be in our parking lot," so that is obvious, right?
Yeah, there's a thing called the knock. It's actually in this community.
Uh-huh.
It is a word, it is a term that's used where you might be just enjoying the privacy of the inside of your van at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, watching a Netflix movie or something, having a glass of wine, and all of a sudden you hear rap, rap, rap. And if it's the first one, it's called like the first knock, right?
Mm.
And it usually is an officer. It's not usually somebody, too dangerous or anything. It's usually an officer wondering what you're doing in the Best Buy parking lot or
Uh-huh.
wondering, what's going on. And they're just trying to nose around and make sure everything's okay. But there are many, many places, especially in the United States, that support people parking around. So Harvest Host is an app that a lot of travelers use where you can stay on working farms and you can stay at wineries or breweries, and many of these places allow for you to stay for a night to just hang out on their property. So,
So you
I
could
went
just
with
go there because they know you'll buy some wine.
Yes,
They know
yes,
you'll buy some wine. They're like, "Come here, don't drive drunk, just chill out and we're cool
yeah,
with it."
yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
nice.
so
But what if you wanted to, like, hang out for longer? Do they want you to get into the vat with your bare feet and mash the grapes? I mean, what are they
yeah.
what do they want you to do?
Yeah, one of Harvest Toast definitely has rules of engagement for using Harvest Toast, and one of
Uh-huh.
them is don't out overstay your welcome. A lot of times, just use Harvest Toast as a stopping point. I stayed at this gorgeous property in Kentucky a couple weekends ago that had a pond and had this beautiful vineyard overlooking the pond, and the sunset was incredible, and I was the only one on the property other than the dogs that were running around on the property. I was the only one out there all night long.
Oh my god. Now are you gonna have a dog with you?
No, I've decided no dog or no cat, at least to get started. I know dogs tend to have some intuition that, humans don't pick up on, so that
Mhm.
might be an automatic sort of security measure that I wanna put in place later. But
Yeah.
back to the whole, jumping on an airplane every other week or so is
Oh,
not really
right.
conducive to traveling and having a pet,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
that's hard,
Yeah.
that's hard. Where are you going first and why? And what kind of itinerary do you have? I have a lot of questions here, like, are you following people? Are you following fish? Like, what are you doing? So, like, where where are you going?
So I love the sunshine in the winter. So I
Okay.
already know that, I'm going to be one of those snowbirds, if you will. I love to ski and be in the snow, but I bet what I will do is that when I get that hankering to be in the snow, go to Tahoe or go
Uh-huh.
somewhere in the mountains out west, then I'll just jump on a plane and do it right, right? Stay inside a Airbnb or something that has maybe a hot tub that can accommodate, the ski season. But yes, I'm definitely chasing sun. I love the Red Rocks area, but I've never been to the Grand Tetons. I want my first official cross country trek to be up to the Grand Tetons
And
and be
tell
a
people about the Grand Tetons.
well, the Grand Tetons is a part of a mountain range that is quite vast, and I believe it's home to one of the largest mountains in the United States. I
Okay.
think they stay snow-capped all year long, even though down, below in the beautiful grassy green area, it's, maybe in the mid 80s. So
Now, can you
it's an
drive up
epic
there or do
place.
you park and then hike to the
Well, the
top?
Grand Tetons is more like a landscape. So it's an
Okay.
entire sort of mountain range, right? Is striking from anywhere you are within the area. I've only seen
Mhm.
pictures. I don't really know
Okay.
because I know I'm going to have oodles of short trips here in the next year, right within the vicinity of Middle Tennessee. So
I see. All right. And then are you following a band or a caravan of people or anything like that?
So you wanna know what's something funny is somebody the other day said, "Well, what I mean, I know you might only wash your hair like once or twice a week, but how does that really work in the van? I mean, you've gotta dye your hair, wash your hair, and I said, "You know what?" I said, "I am not afraid to jump out of the van and go into a spa and have a spa day in whatever city I'm in. Almost any medium-sized city is going to have at least a
Yeah.
spa, right?
Right. And then yeah, and then you can sit in the sauna and jump in the
And then
cold
I have
pool or
yeah, I've got
something. Yeah.
so I thought, "Oh, maybe what I'll do is I'll be van life specific to finding spas around the country, and I'll
Ooh, spa
create my
shots.
own path." Yeah, my own pathway. And then I thought, "No, Terry, you've gotta do better than that." So
Okay.
I have to come up with a way that I can actually really help people other than helping them just find the next best spa. I've really got to come up with a way that I can help people while I'm on the road. Every opportunity that we have is an opportunity to help someone.
Mhm.
Whether they're an older couple that can't get their, internet to work or they need to maximize the font on their iPhone or something. I always say IT support's always here to help.
You can build them a website. Here, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, every opportunity of engaging with anyone of any walk
Mhm.
of life is an opportunity to help. And so, yeah, that's a really beautiful lens to think about how to travel. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great. Okay, so possibly you can combine this where you have your spa stop destinations, and along the way, you're helping people so you don't feel so guilty about your massages that you're
Yeah,
getting
you're
throughout.
really helping me work this out. Thank you.
Well, I'm a party planner. I'm also like a trip planner. That's just what I love doing. So I'm just completely fascinated by what you're about to embark on. And there's times that I like to sort of fly by the seat of my pants and just see what happens. But I also feel like you need to anchor the good times with some definite things you want to have happen, right? That
Mhm,
you
mhm.
can't just let everything sort of fly at you. But okay, so you're not
Right.
following fish. Is there a caravan of people that you think you might hook up with and follow along, or have you already introduced yourself to them?
So believe it or not, I have joined an association. How meta is that?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
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 what
expand on that, like
yes,
what there's
please,
an
absolutely.
association for people?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so there are who knew, but there are tons of communities. I'm talking about dozens of communities specifically for people who are on the road like this. You've got people who are single nomads. You've got
Uh-huh.
people who are single working nomads. You've got
Okay.
people who are RV full-time living. You've got people who are RV part-time living.
Well,
So
sure. So it definitely sounds like a lot of different subcultures. Right? So you're
Mhm,
going to have your
exactly.
retirees that are, checking off all the bucket lists. They're going to the Grand Canyon and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. Yeah. In the movie and then the book Nomadland, they address that. And a lot of them were working at like Amazon warehouses and
Mhm,
different, they're almost
mhm,
like migrant farmers in a way, or they're
mhm.
going around chasing the work in different
Yeah.
parts of the country. So I was just wondering who you're gonna wind up hooking up with here. Who's your
So
gang?
I get to meet a bunch of these people who might could potentially be my people at my first conference
Okay.
in June. So June 19th through the 24th, I am going to a conference that's actually here in Middle Tennessee. It's only 20 minutes or so from my house,
All right.
unbelievably. And it's with this group called the Escapees, Escapees. Okay.
And they've escaped society.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
this is kind of I think that's where sort of the idea came up from. I think they were established in the mid 70s.
Uh-huh.
And now one of the arms or the subgroups of this of the escapees is the X like Gen X, Xcapers, okay?
Okay.
So the Xcapers look a lot like me. They're, maybe 30s, 40s, sort of a little bit more established and running work from their vehicle.
So they all need a good Wi-Fi connection.
Oh, yeah. I know more about mobile Wi-Fi and boosting and all of that than any human should possibly know now.
Your van's
Um,
gonna glow.
yeah. Well, I'm hoping by next year Elon Musk will have all of his crap together for this mobile world. He has Starlink, which he's launched, but
Yeah.
it's really designed for people who are more stationary in their homes. So
Uh
hopefully he's getting on the stick with the mobile friendly.
I read an article and I didn't read enough of it to even mention it now. I don't know why I'm bringing it up about different sorts of batteries they're working on that can last years and years and years. So you're talking about, 3 days of battery power. I mean, they're talking years of battery power, which would maybe those will be around by the time you're ready to hit the road.
Yeah, or
Great.
even just universal internet,
Yeah.
across, even in the most remote places, having some sort of formal, universal internet so we can all continue to stay connected no matter where we are.
Mhm.
But I am super excited about this event because, and I am not promoting this event. I've never even been to it or met anybody at this association. But I mean, if you look at their schedule, it's tire pressure. Ooh, how sexy is that? Right? Can't wait.
It's very
um,
sexy. Is there one on pooping? Because are you
there
pooping in the
is.
van? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can get to that. Like weight management, and I'm not talking about like my body, right? I'm obviously talking about the payload of the van itself.
Oh, interesting.
Insurance,
Okay.
where do you have your legal domicile if you're
Yeah,
not actually have another, space that you live in?
right.
How do you get your mail?
How do you get your mail? How do you get your mail? Because you can't really send it to a PO box because then you have to forward it to, like, another
Right?
PO box,
Believe it
right?
or not, there are entire mail services that handle the mobile nomad, right? So what they do, you have options where you pay a certain amount a month and they receive your mail, and that's
Mhm.
where your legal domicile is. So mine will be in Florida,
Okay.
and because the mailing service that I have that I want is there. So now when I pay my taxes, when I think about paying taxes, that will now be my legal address as well.
I
And
see.
they will do one of a few things for you. They will either open your mail up for you, take all the pictures and send it to you without you even asking, or they will just take pictures of the outside of your mail and say, "Do you want me to forward this to you to a local UPS office, or do you want us to forward this to you at a local friend's house, or do you want us to open it and show you what the contents are?" So,
Wow. And you trust
mhm.
them? You trust these people?
Yeah, I mean, these are trusted mailing services for many, many years. And what kind of things am I really getting in the mail anyway, right? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's a lot of catalogs, right?
Yeah, pretty much, which I have no use for that outdoor furniture anymore.
Then the Bed Bath& and Beyond coupons, like,
I
you
know. I
you
get to
need
give all
those.
those away now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so you touched on insurance. What kind of insurance are you gonna be able to get on your van? It's so customized. I know Geico didn't sell that kind of insurance when I worked there. So
Yeah, there are a few agencies that can do articles insurance. So you have to insure your van itself
yeah.
for the van, and then it's I guess it's articles and contents or something along those
Oh,
lines.
it's I guess it's a
There,
lot of customization, so it would go up like a certain code for each customization. Geico might actually do those now. I don't wanna speak for them. It's been a while since I worked there, but
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Alright.
that's one way. Since I'm getting a new van and I'll have all new contents within,
Uh-huh.
obviously the van itself is under warranty for a couple of years because the van itself is not being modified outside of the model, only the inside of it.
Yeah.
And then like the refrigerator, the air conditioner, all of those things, those have warranties on them for 1 to 2 years
Yeah, but
also.
I'm just talking
So,
about driving insurance. This is your basic
oh,
auto insurance. Yeah.
yes. So it is, there are only select vendors that will insure these vehicles. And it's not
Mhm.
crazy affordable, but it's also not as outlandish as you would think. So,
Okay. All right. Okay. So you got your insurance, you got your Wi-Fi, you have potential friends you're going to make in just a couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're not
Mhm.
actually doing this until like about a year from now. So maybe you're going to have better battery life and all that kind of stuff. Sounds like you got some
Well,
spa destinations. I'm okay.
I mean, yes and no. So, my van is getting made for me by the end of July. So, I am going to basically be doing the straddling the fence where I'm living part time in the van life on my excursions where I decide to take the van out and still having the townhouse. So, I'll have a year to get rid of all the junk in the townhouse. And yes, I said junk because there are only a few things that I really need,
Yeah.
for
We hold
forever, right?
we hold on to a lot of stuff.
We
Although
do.
my superpower really is anytime I give something away to Goodwill, like, I finally do it, I need it the next day. It's like the next day, I need it, like, every time. But I'll hold on to stuff. I'm like, "Why am I holding on to this?" It's just stuff. What was that line from, I just think it was Fight Club, like, "The things you own begin to own you."
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's for real, and I am somewhat of a minimalist anyway, I don't watch a lot of TV,
Mhm.
I'm more I wanna be outside all the time, I wanna be meeting people, I want a lifestyle that has me adventuring, and I feel like this is the best mashup instead of me sitting around opening up the next Amazon box that drops on my door.
Right, right, just stuff, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
we're so addicted to those things. Okay, let's talk about how you're gonna protect yourself from stranger danger. What are you gonna do? You're
Ew.
you're you're this beautiful woman traveling around the country into different parts, sleeping in a
That
van in a parking lot by yourself. What are you gonna do? And you don't have a dog.
Yeah, so, I am not a huge fan of guns,
Uh-huh.
okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there, I don't own a gun now. So,
Uh-huh.
but, I will be investing in a handgun to be able to take with me. It will remain in a safe that's actually bolted to the van itself.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to get training, so I've already done a couple of rounds of training on
That's smart. Yeah.
handgun use because I won't even be in the vicinity of a handgun thinking I might have to use it if I don't know how to use it and I
Yeah,
don't
I
feel
understand.
completely comfortable
Yeah.
using it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's not like the most PC topic in the whole entire world here, but that's the truth of a single woman traveling. I
Yeah,
also
I
have an a knife about this big.
I feel better knowing that you're going to have something like that, you know,
Yeah.
with you.
Mhm.
You should read this book, Spy Secrets to Save Your Life. So write
Oh,
that
that
down.
sounds like a
Spy
good one.
Secrets to Save Your Life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this guy. I want to say his name is James Hansen, perhaps. He's an ex-CIA guy who also is a Mormon. He's pretty wound tight. But anyway, he talks about all the things you need to pay attention to so that you know if someone's maybe tracking you or what to say to them to confront them. And like even
Mm,
these things like a tactical pen to always have with you. And it's just, it's important to have that. You should
yes,
also get this book, how to like I think it's Survival Skills in the Woods, How to Survive the Woods. I am
I
not giving
haven't.
you the right. You do? It's the green with the little
It's a
red
survival
font.
guide. It's the
That yes.
little,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So do
Hmm.
you know how to give yourself stitches if you need or
I do not know how to give myself stitches, nor do I hope I have to. But I do have an emergency kit
okay.
that for the van itself, and then I have emergency medical kit as well.
Okay.
And when it comes to big animals, I've got bear spray, I've got a big knife. I also
All right.
have this little keychain friendly alarm. They always say, keep your keys within arm's reach of you when you're sleeping at night or you're settling down for the evening.
Uh-huh.
And so on that keychain, all you have to do is pull this string and it lets off this really irritating alarm to
Mm.
kind of let the person there, the intruder, to say, "Hey, we realize, you can also censor the alarm on your van." Of course, knowing
Yeah.
me, I might like unlock the doors and
Come on
everybody's
in.
inside.
Come on in. All right.
But the coolest feature that I think I'm gonna have on my van is I am going to have, and I've just done the research on this, cellular enabled cameras
Okay.
that will pan 90 degrees on at two different angles on the van. So
That's
anytime,
fantastic.
yeah,
Mhm.
anytime I can, like, I've got everything boarded up, if you will, or
Yeah.
sealed up for the night. I can just jump on the app, and whether I'm in the van or not in the van, as long as I've got cell signal to those cameras, I
Uh-huh.
can see what's going on outside the van.
Well, that's
So
good.
I can't wait till like a moose or something really awesome approaches the van, and I'm gonna get to get on camera. That'll be fun.
Yeah, and it'll record it then too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, that's
yeah.
fantastic. Okay. I spoke to a Bigfoot researcher for episode 1. His name is David Sidoti, and I told him that you were pretty much going to be traveling around the country, you know, camping and in some of these remote places, and that's usually where people actually see Bigfoot. So if you do encounter Bigfoot, do not call 911. I am going to
Okay.
give you his cell phone number, which I need you just to keep in your phone, and you can call him right away. And they have teams of people around the country that, you know, can run out and assist or tell you what to do, you know, or anything along those lines. And if anyone else ever sees a Bigfoot, you need to go to Florida. It's FL Squatch. That's SQUATCH at Gmail. Send him a message if you encounter Bigfoot. Because of the way your life works, Teri, I'm pretty sure you'll be the one who sees Bigfoot while you're
And
out and
now I
about.
know now I know who to call
Now you know what
when
to
that
do. I
happens. Yeah.
wanna make sure you're prepared. Are there any other bucket list items? Like, what else are you trying to accomplish on this trip? And it's not a trip, it's a lifestyle. I realize this is not a 1 year, it's not a 2 year. You have no time limit on it at all. You're kind of finding yourself and
Mhm.
exploring this new life. But do you wanna go to, like, all 50 states? Do you have any other, I would say, goals in mind? Are you gonna go to Canada, Mexico? Are you gonna drive anywhere else? Like,
Yeah,
what else?
I would love to, get into Canada. As a matter of fact, on my desk right now is the passport renewal process. So,
Okay.
but, ultimately, I wanna get down into Costa Rica. So I recently
Mm,
visited Costa Rica, and the land and the animals and the people are divine, and I wanna go back so badly, and I wanna go and I wanna be able to spend time. I remember we were on a four-wheeler trip when we were down there, and we passed through this campsite, okay, which was basically the most beautiful beachfront property your eyeballs have ever seen, where you could see, volcanoes, out in the ocean, and just an incredible view, and the water's gorgeous. And there
uh-huh.
was one camper located in this campground, and I said, "How much is it to stay in this campground?" And he goes, "Oh, it doesn't cost anything to stay here." And I thought, what a boondocking heaven. I mean, just
Yeah.
pure heaven, and the cutest little restaurants and pubs and everything are not that far away. And so I have definitely have dreams of grandeur of finding someone somewhere along the way that will tag along with me through Mexico and hit Costa Rica for a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, no, is there anywhere you can't go with your van from America? Have you thought about that?
I mean, yeah, I guess a lot of people that travel to Europe or, the like across the big water,
Mhm.
they buy vans or rent vans in those countries and live the
They
van
don't
life that
they don't
way.
ship them over because I feel like
If it's a longer stay,
uh-huh.
they do that, but then again, you're also dealing with driving on the wrong side of the road or wrong side of the vehicle and all of that
Yeah.
that can kinda contends with the lifestyle of driving in those countries, so
Well, just so you know, I lived in England, I went to high school there, and my parents brought one of their American cars over, and so it always freaked out everyone else
yeah.
driving next to us because we would it's like our
Exactly.
steering wheel was right next to theirs, we're like, "What the heck?" And they would look at us with all
Yeah.
wide-eyed
Yeah,
faces,
I
nothing was
know
going on.
there are lots of European vans on the road here, with the driver's side on the opposite side, and I'm just not sure how that really works for them. So,
It's a
but I
weird
mean,
feeling, yeah.
I have to circle back to the whole freedom conversation though, because I think this story might make some sort of impact or ripple effect with your listeners. And it's that I was hit by a car
Mm.
on a jog about 5 Thanksgivings ago. And I was not hurt too badly, other than some major contusions. And about 6 months after I was hit by the car, I realized I was suffering from some major PTSD
Mm.
just by being in a vehicle. So if anybody's
Mhm.
ever been in a really severe car accident or even a small car accident, it can cause a chain reaction of effects in your brain and just being in a car either as a passenger or as a driver that you don't even realize have stemmed from an incident. And so I quickly started to realize after about 6 months that I was suffering from some major anxiety. Every single time I got on the road, I was having to wipe sweaty palms and not pay attention to what was happening. If I was a passenger, just staring at my phone, not be conversationalist. And
Uh-huh.
it was really debilitating because I wanted to go places. I wanted to go to downtown Nashville. And I felt like that anxiety was almost holding me back from just that 20-minute road trip. And so
Mm.
I started just flying everywhere. I had to tell my sisters one time, no, I'm not driving to Florida. And the prices to get there are too high. So I'm not coming right now because I'm not willing to get in the car and drive 8 hours because 8 hours of riddling anxiety is going to basically cause me, you know, to lose 5 years off of my life, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I ended up getting an SUV a couple of years after that, a couple of years ago, actually. And my SUV is a just like a Nissan Rogue, but it's got the bells and whistles for safety features on it.
Mhm.
And I named her Freedom because I knew the instant that I got in that car, I felt so much more relaxed and so much more free because she had all the security measures in place to keep me contained and make me feel better on the road.
Uh-huh.
And so I named her Freedom and I instantly took her on a road trip. It was
Mm.
only a 2.5 hour road trip, but it was the first road trip I'd taken in years.
Were you white
And
knuckling it the whole time? I mean, were you
yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but what it did was it showed me that I could do it.
Mm.
And so, over time now, over the last couple of years, I've become way more comfortable, and I actually did a road trip to Florida to see my sisters, without any problem or any anxiety at all.
Huh.
And so when a few weeks ago, when I rented my rental van through a company called Outdoorsy, so I
Mhm.
knew I wanted this ProMaster 2500, and I thought, let me find the closest thing that I can to this van so that I can see if I can even drive this thing. Like, remember, Terry, you had riddling anxiety just 2 years ago when you were sitting in
Yeah.
a car. Like, how are you going to be able to drive this Class B giant vehicle? And so when I went to go pick it up, it was on this slope. It was on this really steep slope gravel driveway, and they wanted me to just back right out onto this 4-lane road. And I thought, okay, this is not, I can't do this.
Uh-huh.
I told myself, and then I thought, no, we're gonna turn around. How many people in this world have been able to handle a vehicle bigger than this? I've got this. And so I turned around in on the property and I went out the right way
Mhm.
and I did it. And that sense of freedom that to driving that giant vehicle and knowing I could do it despite the fact that a drawer was flying open back there and utensils were going everywhere and I didn't
Uh-huh.
really know what I was doing yet. It was a sense of freedom that I haven't had since I really realized
Wow.
that, that that, a safe car and just getting back out there and doing it can bring
Mhm.
you more than you ever imagined, so
Right. Well, I've been in several car accidents, and most of the time I wasn't even driving. I just happened to be a passenger. So I have some
yeah.
PTSD as well, and I don't like getting in any kind of car, especially on a highway where everyone's weaving in and out. It just
Yeah.
freaks me out a little bit. It scares me to be out there
Mhm.
with everyone. And if I could have some other kind of tank, I would
Right.
probably would drive that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's any kind of a van life slang or secret handshakes that you've learned, or is that something that you're probably going to learn later, starting with this conference or whatever? But anything new that you've picked up on?
I mean, like when I mentioned boondocking, that
Yeah.
sounds like such an old term for me already. So
Yeah.
there are definitely some terms I think I've probably already gotten a hold of that
Uh huh.
would feel like foreign words to you. But when we talk about hookups, we're not talking about, two people hooking up on Tinder. We're talking about actually hooking up pat to power,
Uh
on
huh.
your van. So
So what's
there
hookups? What's hooking up in the van culture?
so it means that you get to draw power from the location that
No,
you're at.
I know what that
Oh,
means. I was like, so what are hookups
oh,
in the
oh,
van culture? Do they have a
yeah.
term for that
I
or?
I actually have been brainstorming with the company that's building my van. I've been brainstorming with the CEO there about creating an app that would allow for you to track your trip. Because basically, when people are going to make a trip, let's pretend I want to go
Uh-huh.
from Nashville to the Grand Tetons. There are 9 million places between here and the Grand Tetons, that are visual sights to behold that you don't want to miss, whether it's a waterfall or a cliff or, maybe some awesome restaurant or something. And
Yeah.
what's not happening is that people are sharing those trips in one space, right?
Yeah.
So let's pretend I'm a van lifer and I want to get between here and the Grand Tetons. I've got to map out my own trip. Well, how cool would it be if I could go into the app and actually see, who else has done it and what their lifestyle is like and see a profile for them. And then I guess maybe in there somehow, some way, you've got the hookup thing, but I don't really know. I'm not here. I'm like, I'm not about that right now. I'm
I
thinking
got
about
you.
a little bit
Okay.
more selfishly, but I'm sure that all the other apps still exist. All you got to do is drop your location and then anybody that
Yeah.
wants to
So we
play
had
for a night or
a
something.
layer a lot of that. Uh, Now, are there any questions that you can think of that I should have asked you? Like you wish I had brought up?
Oh, yeah, you did bring up pooping and
Yeah.
other
You
people
skipped past it, so I thought,
yeah,
I'll just leave it
other
there.
other people that inquire about van life go, "What the heck with showering and pooping?" And I
Yeah.
feel like I've already kind of covered the showering topic,
Not
but
really. You said I'm
no?
gonna shower in my van, but it just seems like water's gonna get everywhere.
Right.
I'm tall and I'd feel like I'd be crouching down with a little
Mhm,
handheld. I mean,
mhm.
is that how it works? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
So coming from a woman that shaves her legs every single day of her life, a shower is kind of an important deal, right?
Uh-huh.
Especially, or imagine like in a recent case, I've got to get on a plane at 6:30 in the morning, and I got done with my hike at say 6 o'clock. Do I really have time to run the outdoor shower, when I got to
Uh-huh.
get on a plane in the morning? So no, no. So my shower will actually be a seating area. So during the day or when you're not showering, I guess, it's a cushion top seat
Okay.
and you can sit on it with a table next to it. And you can actually drop that table down and make it a bigger seating bench area. Or you can pop open the case where you're seated. And inside there is a sealed tub basin, basically, or shower basin. And it's all silicone sealed and everything. And then what I'll do is I'll have these little magnetic hooks that hook to the ceiling of the van, and
Okay.
then I will drape the shower curtain so that the shower curtain is inside that square seating area, if you will.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And then there is actually a shower head that then you can you prop up. You can
Right.
stabilize it into like a little hooking area and do your business. So
Hmm.
that is just in case you didn't want to take an outdoor shower. So
Sure.
I'll have my what?
I
Who
think
did you?
you just need to get laser hair removal on your legs and just be
I
done with
have.
it. Oh.
I have. It doesn't really work. Do you see all this dark hair, girl?
Yeah, yeah, you're not follically challenged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. So that's the shower situation. What I skipped was talking about the toilet that actually sits inside the shower. So when I would use the shower, I will actually take this toilet out of the shower.
Okay.
And yes, to answer everybody's question, I have used one of these porta potties, if you will, in the van.
Is that
And
how
it
you
is,
decide well, hold on. Is that how you decided to buy it? Or let me poop in the van. Okay, this is mine. Was that what you did? Like, I need
yeah,
to see how this works.
yeah, no, you do have to take in the entire experience, really.
Yeah, did you sleep in one yet? Like, it
Oh,
just seems
yeah,
so
yeah,
you've
no, I
okay.
rented a van for 5 days, and I took it up to St. Louis to meet the people that are building out my van, and we got to cross compare, and I got to take in what, a van with a shower and a toilet and the
Uh-huh.
sleeping and the cooking and all of the in between and everything, um, that for 5 days, and I actually had a little nightmare happen the first night I was in the van. My somehow they if I say the abyss in your car, what does that mean to you?
I don't even know. I
Okay, so the abyss in your car is that spot that everything falls down in between your seat and the
Oh,
console,
yeah,
right?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so what could possibly go wrong if there's an abyss at the foot of the bed that goes straight down all the way to the wheelbase?
Oh.
So I was
Why would they
charging
have that?
So the number one priority in my van is no abysses. It's
Yeah,
seriously it's in contract. It says no abysses.
that's funny.
So because I ended up having to take the van back to the owner and he had to cut a giant hole in the wooden wheelbase along with some other parts to be able to fish my phone out of the wheelbase.
Ah, that's awful.
I had to depend on my Apple Watch to get me directions. So since my phone still had a charge and I had my watch on, I was able to actually talk to Siri on my watch
Uh-huh.
and tell her to give me directions. Otherwise, I would have had no directions. So note to self, like maps are helpful.
Yeah, I was
you know.
gonna say, do you know how to use just a regular old paper map and a compass if you
Yeah.
needed to?
Yeah, if I really needed to, I would have had to go to the little local general store and and buy a map or just ask somebody like the old fashioned way. So
Yeah, yeah, I kinda wonder I think they should do some sort of contest between people using, like, GPS and then someone else using a map and a compass, and let's see who can make it to the other side faster, and I feel like the map people would get there faster.
you
'Cause
know what's kind of funny is my one of my taglines for my own self is I can't find myself out of the telephone booth. So I definitely am erring on the side of being the GPS dependent one, but my mom would have kicked butt using a map.
Oh,
So
I bet.
yeah.
There's a way to fold those, I've never quite figured it out.
Yeah,
It's right
that's
up
the
there with the
talent all
fitted
by itself.
sheets. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can fold a map and fitted sheets, like, you're on the team. Okay, so, I'm gonna ask you a couple of other questions that are not related to this topic, but this is just part of, like, the interesting conversations game and also, what I teach other people to do. So, I always like to ask folks, what is their biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, the grovelly throat when somebody's talking and they just need to clear their throat, that's so annoying.
Oh, so you're talking about, like, that rattly mucus sound in their
Yes,
throats. Yeah,
yes.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
I don't like that sound either.
a friend of mine has that every once in a while, and all I have to do now is just go like this. That's like my personal cue to like, "You gotta fix that."
Clear that out. Yeah,
Yeah, like, does
yuck.
that not bother you? Like, it's just hanging out
Clearly,
there.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
Oh, I mean, I do, like, open cupboards, that's kind of a weird one, if
That's not
somebody's
weird. I think a lot of people, especially if they have teenage kids, hate open
yeah, yeah,
cupboard.
open cupboards is kind of annoying, which there's only, I mean, gonna be 4 cupboards in the van, so that'll be real easy to just keep that up. Um, yeah, and, probably just Mean people. I don't like people that are mean or unkind or don't give people the benefit of the doubt before they even know them. So,
Yeah, yeah, mean people suck.
yeah.
Um, I don't like it when people wear flip-flops and they're sitting in the emergency exit row. I'm like, "You can't save the day in flip-flops." Drives me nuts. Like, those are not save the day shoes. But you just
Right, so you're telling me my heels then would also probably in
I
that same category?
yeah, I don't like that either, but it's just it's always somebody wiggling their toes and flip-flops sitting in the emergency exit row. I'm like, "You might be willing, but you're not able. You're not gonna be able to save anything." There's a reason why superheroes are never in flip-flops. Although I think there
Right.
might be one, and it's probably a lame superhero. Anyway, next up, how about this? What were you afraid of as a child, and what are you
Ooh.
afraid of now?
Oh, man, I'm a big prankster, so I really hate admitting that I'm allergic. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm allergic to it. Yeah, I'm allergic to frogs. Do not approach me with any kind of frog anything. Not a fake frog, not a real frog, not a tadpole, not a toad, not a anything.
Uh-huh.
I was raised in Florida, and my parents were building a house, and they were building a house, I think, on top of a frog pond. I'm not really sure, but
Oh.
they made all the frogs angry. And so one of my little girlfriends up the street would just chase me around with these frogs and throw them on me and throw them in my hair and everything. So it actually comes from a place of like real trauma. So I remember
I
screaming bloody
gotcha.
murder, and there were no locks on the doors yet, right? Because
Mhm.
the house was being built. So all I could do was hold the door closed,
Uh-huh.
like slinging frogs at the window. So yeah, frogs not a good pastime for sure.
So what are you afraid of now?
I'm a mom. I'm a mom and like I'm an 18 and 17 and 19-year-old,
Uh-huh.
so like all of the things that come along with the mom life are really
Mhm.
what terrify me the most. Their safety and their decisions and all that good stuff. I try not to harp and let them be their own people, but being a
Yeah.
mom that's a big job. So most of my fears, I would say rational fears, not the frog like ones,
Uh-huh.
come from being their mom. But you know, they're kids, and I often hear people say things to me like, "Terry, you're not afraid of anything." I mean, no, that's not true. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just not afraid of being alone. I'm not afraid of walking in the woods by myself. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of some of
Mhm.
the things that people naturally be afraid of. So I think that equips me pretty well for the lifestyle.
You're pretty fearless though. I now let's talk about your kids. You are going to live in a van
Yes.
and they are now out on their own. Where is home for the kids?
They asked that question, actually. They said, "Mom, what about Thanksgiving dinner?"
Yeah.
And I said, "That's totally a fair question because clearly mom's not cranking out a giant turkey and all the fixins of mac and cheese and green bean casserole and sweet potato casserole in the little van." So,
Mhm.
yet again, I'm in a unique situation where, well, maybe it's not all that unique, but I'm in a different situation than being forced to live in the van. I have the option still of renting an Airbnb or going to a
Yeah.
friend's house or
Mhm.
having a home host somewhere else. And so my kids have lots of family. I've got sisters and brothers and
Yeah, you have a
lots of
big
open
family.
homes I can go to. So
Uh-huh.
there's always that. But I told the kids, I said, the next question I would ask you is, where do you want to be for Thanksgiving?
Mm.
And if they say we want to be in Park City, I'll say, cool, let me book you a flight to Park City and I'll rent an Airbnb with a full kitchen. And you
Right.
can have your 4 college friends come out with you if they want to, and we can do Park City and have Thanksgivings.
I also think they're going to be more independent. I mean, you've done a fantastic job of raising them and some of the
Oh.
example I mean, you really have. And some of the
Mm.
examples you give me about ways that you've taught them how to be, future entrepreneurs as well. And I think you going out on your own is very inspiring for them. And sometimes when people know, oh, I have my bedroom back home, perhaps they don't apply themselves because they know, "Oh, I can always go back home." Instead, it's, "Well, shit,
Mhm.
I gotta get this done. I gotta
Right,
hustle," because,
right,
I mean, they know you're there for
right.
them. There is the safety net, but that in the back of their mind, they're like, "I gotta get out there and do
Yeah,
it. I gotta
yeah,
earn
and
it."
I mean, I can't discount their dad either. He's super present and he has a place. And so that's can also be home base for the kids too. They have a great relationship with him too. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
I appreciate you saying that. I've always, not always, but most of the year, the most recent years, we do experiences as gifts instead of actual material things as gifts.
Yeah, I
You
remember
know,
you saying that.
kids
Mhm.
don't really want for things, so we go on trips, as presents. So making memories last so much longer than things do.
That's right, they do. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to tell everyone how I met you. Anne Neville is
Mhm.
a person that I didn't know at all. She called me up out of the blue several years ago, introduced herself, and then said, "I'm having a sleepover. Would you like to come?" And I said, "Sure." And she laughed. She's like, "Yes, I thought you would say it, but I thought you would need more information before you would agree to come." So I think she was a little shocked that I just blurted out yes, but I was shocked that it was such a weird thing that this random stranger has offered to me that I had to say yes. Like I didn't need any other info. It's probably going to have her on a future show, and I'm not going to talk about that particular sleepover, but she wound up liking me enough and bonding with me that she invited me to another one. And then she invited Teri to that as well. So I met Teri through Zoom at the beginning of 2020. And
Mhm.
I had been, hustling all through 2019 to get this, I would say, my business off the ground, which is the Interesting Conversations company. And I was hustling, trying to get these speaking gigs. And right about the time everything started to take off, COVID-19 hit. All in person events were crushed worldwide for 2 years. My husband had taken on all these part time jobs working in athletic training, and all of those were demolished because all sports were canceled as well, and we couldn't qualify for like any of this federal aid, like for one reason or the other. We just, the rules didn't apply to us, and we just were gonna, where's the money going to come from? Like it just wasn't going to come in the door at all. And it was the worst time to try to get a job because 22 million people suddenly didn't have a
Mhm.
job, and they're all out there. It's like we're all trying to marry the same person, but they're all, you know, they're all much better options than I am. I just couldn't figure out, what I was going to do. So I took my card game, I moved it onto Zoom and started turning it into like a online game show. And I was doing it for free because I was trying to figure out how to use the tech and how it would translate into the virtual world. And Teri was the first person to offer to pay me. And she happened to reach out to me on a day that I was really down. And I thought, this is never going to work. And she just showed up out of the blue offering to pay me. And that gave me the confidence to charge other people. And then, of course, the rate started to increase from there. And that's how I survived COVID, was being an online game show host. And it wouldn't have happened had Teri not reached out and said, "Hey, let me pay you." So Teri's always been a hero to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I mean, really, you invented all of it. All you needed was somebody to step up and say, "Yes, I am 100% beside you in all of this invention." And it's tons of fun. I mean, let's be
Oh,
real.
thanks.
I had played the
Thank
game
you.
without having paid for it already, and I knew, hey, you can't have this hostess and among you and have her do a game for you without actually taking care of the one that created it. So it's
Oh,
so
that
much,
was
it's so fun. It's so
oh,
fun.
thanks. Well, I'm still doing those today. So look at that, so many
Love
years
it.
later. All right, now I'm going to ask a couple of questions from the very interesting game. And this one was originally a Halloween edition. Are you ready?
I
All
don't know.
right, here we go. Some jumping spiders can see into light spectrums that humans cannot. What do they see that we do not?
Mm. I think they see hidden moles.
Hidden moles. So they work for the dermatologist? So
Yeah,
oh,
they see weird moles,
oh, that's
Mhm.
funny. A friend of mine, Luke, said that they see the meat sweats. Like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
the meat sweats.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Are you ready for this one? I got another one. Scientists have figured out how to reverse a hard cooked egg. What else should they figure out how to undo?
Oh, Oh, these are tough. Undo. Okay. How
Let me
about
get do you want me to give you some examples of what
yeah,
I've
give
heard
me
in the
some
past?
examples.
A lot of times people will say like a messy shirt, like they get spaghetti sauce on it, they like to be able to quickly undo it, or
Mhm.
perhaps if they said something, mean and then they wanna take it back, they wish they hadn't said that, so it's a
Mm.
lot of those kinda things or, bad mistakes, but if you can undo a mistake, I wonder though, you shouldn't be able to undo the learning that you got
Right,
because you learn
right,
from your mistakes, and if you
right.
always undo your mistakes, like, well, where's the lesson? Because there's no
Yeah, no,
gain.
that's totally in flow with what I was thinking, which is based on, my not written book yet, which is Sorry Mommy Got Wasted. So, maybe that wasted moment that I had where I made a bad decision.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd probably take back a few of those. If there was an undo pill for that, yeah, maybe, like, even in the next morning, like, can I just pop this thing and undo what happened yesterday?
I would like to undo, like, some things I've eaten without it being bulimia or,
Yeah,
right, just like, "Oh, the calories don't exist." That would be
right,
nice.
right.
It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
why did I eat all that pizza?"
Yeah, I totally take whatever situation is up on that. I'd
Uh-huh.
pop anything. I'd even give myself a shot. I don't like shots either. Mhm.
The plan is to always end every episode with this one question, and I have heard more than 1,000 answers to this particular question. And it is what should have been invented by now. It is my favorite question to ask people. I like to ask it instead of what do you do for a living? I just say, hey, what should have been invented by now? But the problem is a lot of people default to like these obvious answers. So they'll say teleportation or time travel or lightsabers, or then they want to say the cure for cancer or something along those lines. And I don't want those answers. And I don't want the self cleaning house or flying cars. My husband always wants like temperature controlled underwear because we live in hot, sticky, humid Florida. And I'm imagining he wants some cooler. I never actually asked him. I mean, maybe he wants some hotter. It'd be a little weird. But so what is it that you think should have been invented by now?
Oh, okay. So this plays super nicely with the topic of the day, which also mashes up with maybe a future endeavor. In case
Okay.
you can't tell, I got a lot going on in my world, but why not throw in one more? What about a review site for the van builders?
Oh, that's
Mhm.
right. That's right. So, you know what, Terry, why don't you tell everyone about one of your other businesses that you have that ties into reviews?
Yeah, so I am studying the science, business, and ethics of online reviews kind of at nauseum. I know more than the average person should know about online reviews. But I am a software company owner of a software solution called 100 Reviews, which allows any organization to spin up their own review site. So I work a lot with associations, which are member societies. And members are often having to make really difficult buying decisions at work, and so I work with associations for them to spin up review sites or Yelp like experiences, if you will, for members and their members that are buying very specific things at work.
How many reviews should a business have to be considered legit?
Oh, sure. So, 10 reviews actually creates statistical significance.
Uh-huh.
But that's also a little bit about where the 100 reviews name came from. So, a lot of people say, I'll ask the question, what's the tipping point on the number of reviews on a review site that creates statistical significance? And people will say, well, 100, like obviously. And I worked with an analytics team early in my early days, and they said actually 10 reviews on 10 or more companies is what creates a space for you to actually be able to cross compare and see who's doing better than the other guy in competition.
Huh.
So,
Interesting. So you only need 10.
yep, 10
Yeah.
creates statistical significance. It's not that many.
There's a can opener on Amazon that has like 30,000 reviews. I'm like, why does it have so many reviews for this can opener?
Yeah, yeah, pretty
Crazy.
ridiculous. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
was searching van cameras, yeah, there's only like 36 reviews on one of the most fabulous cameras in the marketplace. And it's like, wait, something's wrong here when the can opener has 3,000.
Are you going to post your journey for other people to follow? Is there a place?
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually already started an Instagram. It's called My Crazy Van Life.
Okay.
So believe it or not, I got that handle. I don't know how that was even possible, but yeah, find me on Instagram at My Crazy Van Life. Believe it or not, I'm hiring a social media person to help me with this account because I don't know
Okay.
how to do reels and I don't know how to put, timing with different, visuals, places that I'm going. So my social media person is going to be my daughter, and I'm going to pass her content, and then she's going to make it beautiful so that people can see at least something, not as kind of basic as what I would be posting. However, when you go in there, you're going to see me in my pajamas actually already trying to fish out my phone from the wheelbase, the abyss, with two forks because that was all I had access to. So lots of real stories in there too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, is there any other advice you want to give people that are considering the van life, like how they get started? Any advice?
It's super cliche, but the best things in life are free, and you can actually do this lifestyle without having $110,000 in your pocket. And I'm an adventurer and I love to meet people. So if you ever want to cross paths with me, I will be maybe at a city near you, and I would love to hang out and share a beverage with you.
And Terry, you said you are single. Is that something else?
Announcement, announcement.
She is
uh,
single and available. If anyone wants to follow me or any details about what I do, come to interestingconversations.com. And if you'd also like to see any other videos, you can go to my YouTube channel, Deedre Daniel. Well, thank you so much,
Woohoo,
Terry.
that was so much fun. Thanks for having me, for asking all the interesting questions.